Hello and welcome again to another episode of Film Directing with Matt Macedo. I am your host. Today is another quick episode following up to the last one, which was the top 5 living directors. This next one is top 5 directors of all time, and this is curated by Peter Markham over at filmdirectingclass.com, which I highly recommend. So right after a quick word from our sponsors, we'll jump right into this list. All right, and starting off our list of top 5 directors of all time, no surprise, is Alfred Hitchcock. Films like Vertigo, North by Northwest, Rear Window, Strangers on a Train, The Birds, The Man Who Knew Too Much, Dial M for Murder. These are all films that are classic in directing styles and very specific, right, to him as a director. And that's something as a director that you need to find is your own particular voice, your own style and motif that's going to come through in every film. Um, and specific with all of these directors on this list, that's very apparent to each and every one of their films. Like you see a Hitchcock film, you know it's a Hitchcock film. You see a Scorsese film, you know it's a Scorsese film. You see a Kubrick film, you know it's a Kubrick film. So here I am, just quickly giving away the list. Next is Kubrick, Eyes Wide Shut, Barry Lyndon, A Clockwork Orange, The Shining. Incredible films. Um, Next is Scorsese. Goodfellas, Casino, Raging Bull, Taxi Driver, The Departed, the King of Comedy, Gangs of New York, Wolf of Wall Street. Actually, having this class with Peter, he was a second unit director on Gangs of New York, and so he worked with Scorsese, and there are stories of them on set together, and even experiences that I don't want to spoil. I would encourage you to take his class so you could hear these experiences for yourself. But we watched these films together. For example, we watched Gangs of New York, and he was able to point out, all the specific shots that he got, mostly just pickup shots, and inserts without the principal actors. But nonetheless, he had to know the directing style, in order to match it. So it's inspiring watching someone who, or even just learning from someone who knows um, just how Scorsese works and the mind of the director so well. Um, Peter is someone who, he hammered this into our heads during his class was, you know, them like people like Scorsese and even Hitchcock, they, you know, knew how to make movies by watching movies. Um, so this is the thing as directors of our time, we need to really not lose the the visual language of what is going on. So that's something that Peter really talks about as well. Film grammar versus film language. Now, I went to film school and they really only taught us film grammar. They taught us coverage. They taught us over the shoulder. They taught us, don't do exposition or, all of these things. And, you kind of have to throw that all out the window after learning it. Like, it's good to know, but then it's like, okay, you throw it out the window and then you watch a Scorsese film and there's so much cutting in camera. Even Hitchcock, of course, there's constant cutting in camera. There's constant, you know, movement of the camera that just in today's world is so foreign in a way, but it's rich in its practice and in its ability to communicate. That's one of the most powerful things about film is that, just by showing two images, we're able to completely, you know, get a third reaction or get a third mental picture out of it, if that makes any sense. Um, so yeah, continuing the list, we have Hitchcock, Kubrick, Scorsese. Next is Kurosawa, Rashomon, Seven Samurai, Throne of Blood, The Hidden Fortress. These are all films that are I looked up each film maker and the best rated films of theirs, and I've included them in this list. So Rashomon, Seven Samurai, Throne of Blood. These are all films that Kurosawa um, is known for, like, heavily. And then another one on the list, last but not least, Michael Powell. He did films titled The Red Shoes, Peeping Tom, The Life and Death of Colonel Blimp. And actually, that's one of the films that I think Peter said is one of his favorites of all time. Um, yeah, and I think actually Peter did mention one of his favorite films last year, even was The Irishman of Martin Scorsese. So I highly encourage you guys watch that film as well. And that's the thing. So watch a film as a filmmaker, right? And what do I mean by that? So again, I highly encourage you to take a class, take Peter's class, in teaching you how to watch a film as a filmmaker. The simple podcast episode isn't going to do it for you. Um, watching, and especially since this is only audio, you're missing the whole other visual medium behind this. Um, it's watch a movie scene by scene, rewatch it, over and over and over again, and you'll start to see the art and just everything build into one. So you think about everything. Think about the opening image. Think about the first thing a character says. Think about the shot choices. For example, in Gangs of New York, um, we we kind of really dissected it to every little beat. So there's a moment where a young character emerges from the shadows, and what does that mean for the whole rest of the film? There's a part where when we're kind of introducing our main characters, those are always key moments in a film. When you're introducing the main character, when you're introducing the main conflict, all of these things, inciting incidents and story structures, you know, they're all so vital to making, a film complete, and make sense even, So biggest thing that I take away from his class especially is truly just how to watch a film as a filmmaker. That was really kind of one of the things I guess I was missing from my education at school was exactly what I got from him, and that was actually, it was film language, right? I got the grammar at school, but I didn't really get the film language. I didn't get how to communicate with my shots and how to say certain and how to, just cultivate emotion just through a single shot. It's incredible the ability that this medium has, and, yeah, so I'm very thankful to be, able to even have this podcast and, you know, whoever's listening, I hope you appreciate it. But regardless, so again, I'm very thankful that I've even met Peter and thankful to have taken his classes. And I hope you guys, take it seriously. Watch these films that I've mentioned. The last episode was top 5 living directors. Um, Obviously, Scorsese's still living, but uh, there's an exception to that rule. So, top 5 living directors. In this episode, top 5 directors of all time. And yeah, I really encourage you guys to just do research, watch films, watch movies to know how to make movies, and that's the goal. I mean, we have nothing but time right now, so nothing but time. So again, thank you guys for tuning in to another episode, and see you next time.